It's the director of Disclosure. Yesterday, in a conversation, you said something really amazing. You said, well, movies to be about nothing is the best of all. But because my movies are about something, I guess it's just my fault. That's a great take on somebody whose movies are always about something.
Well, I mean, if you ask me, in a sense, to qualify it, in today's world, I think what happens more and more is you try to devise something that will not have any negative spin to come from it. So you begin to move things further away. So let's not be here, let's not be there. Let's just be sort of into an area where we eliminate negative spin.
To provoke but not antagonize?
Not to antagonize, not to do anything, and not to have something in it that someone says, ooh, is that movie about something?
People distrust that, don't they?
Ooh, so that they would get a little bit nervous. And at the same time, I have to add that a lot of times a movie that is about nothing, they are treated more kindly by the press, because they say, well, it's just a light thing and whatever, blah, blah. And then the more content that's in it, the more it is analyzed and ultimately criticized. So all of these things are at work that has made the marketplace more and more complicated, I think. Mm-hmm. And I think that you're talking about a giant business that is saying, well, then what can we do that just make it? Let's not attach ourselves to these things where we can get in trouble.
Now, in the case of Disclosure, are all of these priorities working for you?
I think in Disclosure, I think we're lucky in that we have a movie that has very, very strong suspense elements of a strong participation from the audience. They're having a very good time, almost like you might say like a ride in a way, and it is carrying an issue that seems so alive that it causes people to talk about it and debate, and that's like a plus in that respect.
Now, there's another factor in this, though, that we haven't mentioned, which is your own personal conviction or commitment to a given issue. Mm-hmm. And in this case, of course, sexual harassment is the one that's been getting all of the play, so let's deal with that. Is that a personal commitment, or is it just another challenge, another topic to try and deal with as entertainingly as possible?
Well, I think we're faced with right now is a real transitional period in America. For up until World War II, really, women were really segregated. Women were not in the workplace, and now men and women work side by side, and you have a huge problem of definition as to what is appropriate behavior, inappropriate behavior. We're trying to understand one another. We're trying to make sense out of it. And it's enormously complex. And I don't think anyone knows the end or sees the light at the end of the tunnel yet. We're trying to figure it all out. Basically, men and women, can meet in the workplace. They meet, etc. They date, have romances. They may marry. The romances falls apart, etc. Where does all this fit into? How do we deal with that now?
But if it were hard and fast, there'd be no drama, would there?
That's right.
It's in the indecision.
So it's the indecision. Confusion. It's the gray areas of it that make it, I think, exciting to explore.
And you said it's interesting when you start hearing men saying the same things that maybe women were saying some years ago, as we hear Michael Douglas say in this movie.
Yeah.
Protesting this and that.
Saying some of the things that a woman would say, and now we have to come to it with a fresh eye.
That's irony, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is a subject that really is giving you an awful lot of opportunities to do all kinds of things.
Well, I think it is. It's a very live subject. This is, as I have said, this is not the true serious, treatment of the subject. It's not the definitive word on the subject. It's certainly not going to be the last thing on this subject. But I think in the context of the movie, I think it makes for a real good time in the theater.
Your look in the film seems to me to confirm all of this. People are living in glass houses with all of the connotations that carries, aren't they, here?
On face value, it seems like it's open and friendly in work environment, and then as it progresses, it creates almost like a sense of paranoia. What is someone doing? What are they thinking? What are they plotting? What are they planning? So it starts to feed back on itself.
And whether a door opens or closes, as in Michael's office, that's a big deal suddenly.
Yeah.
Are you drawing upon any kind of a corporate world per se that maybe also reflects the environment of making a movie? All of the echelons of power and all of that?
Well, there are all the echelons of power, and because the dollar is king, what will people do, to make money as well? What do we do? Where do we stand when hundreds of $1 million are at stake? Where is our ethics? Where is our sense of morality as well?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you're making movies about something. Does it always mean, however, that it just doesn't get any easier, each project out of the gate?
Does it get easier? No,
Yeah.
it never gets easier. It never gets easier.
Do you want it to, or is part of the fun and the friction,
I think it's depending. I mean, certain movies that you make, are going to be a tougher sell. If you make a movie that's more character driven, you have a much harder sell, because what is the spin? And that's why you'll see some movies just go disappear in a flash. And it's a struggle. It's a struggle to make it. It's a struggle to sell it. And God knows, you can't say, well, look, because by nature I love ultimately what I do. I love directing movies, taking ideas and putting them on film and getting some reaction. I love that. So I can't say that the struggle it's beyond comprehension, but it's a struggle. It's something you have to deal with.
And we all have limitations, and mine is to end this interview, alas. But it's been fun to talk with you once again.
Okay.
Barry Levinson, Director of Disclosure. I'm John Tibbetts for KCTV5, and we are here in Washington.